Alright, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to expand on the knowledge of order of operations to simplify expressions. We're going to, after today's lesson, you should recognize the properties of equality and identity, and recognize the commutative and associative property. New vocabulary, equivalent expressions, additive identity, multiplicative identity, multiplicative inverse, and reciprocal. Alright, so looking at the note paper that I gave you, we can start filling in some of these. So we have reflexive property, and it's any quantity is equal to itself. And so the symbols would be for any number A equals itself. An example would be 5 equals 5, 4 plus 7 equals 4 plus 7. So you're basically saying that for any given value, it's equal to itself. Alright, so two more addition properties. We have the additive identity, and this is for any number. If we add 0 to any number in addition, we get that same number in return. So 2 plus 2 equals 0, and 0 plus 2 equals 2. 2 plus 2 equals 2, and 0 plus 2 equals 2. So the additive identity and addition is 0, and then the additive inverse is the number that the opposite of the number. So when we add A to the opposite of A, which is negative A, we get 0. So it's the number that you add to a number to get to the identity, or 0. And so in addition, you're just going to add the opposite of the number. So if you have a positive number, you're going to add the negative number to it. If you have the negative number, then you're going to add the positive number to it. And then a few more. We have multiplication properties. So the multiplicative identity is 1, because any number times 1 is itself. And then the multiplication property of 0, if you multiply 0 by any number, you get what? 0. And then the multiplicative inverse is when you multiply the inverse or the reciprocal of the number, and if you multiply any number by its inverse, then you get 1. Alright, so now we're going to use our properties to justify the steps. So we're going to solve this, and we're going to justify each step with the properties that we just looked at. So I'm going to rewrite it. So here, the first thing that they're going to do is they are simplifying, so they have 12 minus 8. What's 12 minus 8? That's where that 4 is coming from. So they're substituting 12 minus 8 for 4. So now looking at this parenthesis, and this is where you, on that one side of your notebook, there's going to be another one, so if you want to watch with this one, and then we can work through the next one. So in this parenthesis, what does our order of operations tell us we need to do? In that 15 divided by 5 minus 2. Order of operations. So we need to divide the 15 and 5. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So we can use substitution to substitute 3 in for the 15 divided by 3, since they're equal. Alright, we're still not finished in that parenthesis. Now we have 3 minus 2. So 3 minus 2 is equal to what? 1. So we can use, since 3 minus 2 equals 1, we can use substitution to substitute 1 into that parenthesis. Questions so far? All right, so now we have 1/4 times 4. What's 1/4 times 4? 1, because 1/4, if we have 4 1/4, we have a whole. So they did 3 times 1 equals 3, so use the multiplicative identity there. And so then the multiplicative inverse, 1/4 times 4 equals 1. So now we have 1 plus 3. We can combine those terms. And what can we use substitution? 1 plus 3 equals what? 4. So using substitution, 1 plus 3 equals 4. That's not that bad, right? Right. So now I want you guys to use this one. So evaluate this and tell me what you get. Second to last property is the commutative property. And this has to do with the order that your terms are in. So this says that if you have A plus B is the same as B plus A, so we can flip it. And this works in multiplication and addition, but not subtraction or division. So multiplication and addition, not subtraction and not division. Their order does matter. So here, an example for addition, we have 4 plus 8 equals 8 plus 4, and an example of multiplication is 7 times 11 equals 11 times 7. And if you add or multiply those up, each side of the equal sign is the same. We're good? Mm-hmm. All right, and then the last one, the associative property. And this has to do with how we're grouping in our equation. So this works in addition and multiplication, but not subtraction, not always in subtraction or division. So in addition, we have A plus B in parentheses plus C, and that equals A plus, and then now we're grouping our B and C in parentheses. And then for multiplication, we have AB in parentheses times C equals A times, and then B and C are in parentheses. In addition example, we have 3 plus 5 plus 7, and so that's the same as 3 plus, and then 5 plus 7. It doesn't matter which ones we add first, it still comes out the same, and same with multiplication. All right, so questions there? All right, so now we're going to look at them. So here we have a horseback riding. Regina made a list of trail lengths to find the total miles she rode. Find the total miles Regina rode her horse. So here we have the trail name and then how many miles she rode. So how would we find the total number of miles? What are we going to do? We're going to add them up. Now, does it matter what order we add them up in? No. So if we all started at a different one and add it, we'd get the same. As long as we added correctly, we'd get the same results. So here they have everything and adding it up. Now they're grouping it to simplify because the 4.25 plus 7.25, that equals 12 because the fractions add up to make a whole. And then the 6.5 and 9 add up to 15.5. And so they get 27.5. So she rode that many miles. All right, now it's going to be your turn. All right, so we want to evaluate 2 times 8 times 5 times 7 using properties of numbers. Name the property used in each step. So we're going to look at our multiplication properties. So we're going to rearrange to make the mental math easier. And so we started with the 2 times 8 times 5 times 7 to 2 times 5 times 8 times 7. So they reordered the 5 and 8. They flip those around. and then they're going to group the 2 and 5. Why do you think grouping the 2 and 5 together makes sense? Because you get 10. And then so here we get 10 times just 1 0. So 10 times 560 is going to be 10 times 56 is going to be 560. And so can you see how like grouping the numbers can make things easier to work with? All right, so you want to try this one? All right, do you guys have any questions on that?